going on, guys? This is Slime Boss here, and welcome back to another episode of the Crazy Cat Podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Hylian Hero. What's up?
What's up?
So today, we're going to be talking Switch 2 predictions. This video is probably going to be recorded maybe a little bit too early. We don't know. We're trying to find that sweet spot where we have enough time. But I'm going to be gone for a week. And it's getting time for crunch time for a lot of people, holidays and extra working and, not having, managers and such. This guy. So we don't know when we can record this, so we're going to record this now. In any event that we might have to re-record this, that's fine, I guess. But we're just talking Switch 2 hardware predictions. We're not talking software. We'll make that another video once the Switch 2 actually releases. But again, my point in doing this is that if between now and let's call it like halfway through December, Nintendo says, oh, hey, tomorrow we're releasing the Switch 2 trailer, then we'll release this video in that case. If that doesn't happen, then we'll probably reconsider our thoughts and push it to next year. Because I don't want to release this too early either. I hope that makes sense.
Well, I was gonna say, chances are, if it goes that late, nobody's gonna see this.
Yeah. So, or maybe we just release it anyway, just because.
Yeah, might as well.
Extra content. If we end up having to, I pray that we're getting the announcement here in the next few weeks, but at the time of recording this, so. But as far as what we know concrete, okay, it's a Switch successor, which means in some way, somehow, it's going to be related to Switch 1, which is new for Nintendo. Probably since, the Nintendo days, the NES days. For the first time in a long time, this is just a new form of the Switch, but it's next gen. It's not going to be like a new Nintendo 3DS. No, this is still the next gen. It's just another Switch in the Switch format. The next thing that we know is due to the Freak leak, because they're really freaky over there at Game Freak apparently. That the Switch codename is Ounce. I don't know what that connects to. Maybe we have some theories.
I do have one.
Okay.
Once we get to it.
And 3, the last thing that we 100% know, or we don't know that it's true or not, but we have one rumor leak of what the console could potentially look like, and that's all we know, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So would you like to get us started on something?
So this isn't my quote-unquote theory. It's something I read on Twitter. I think it was from Paul Gale, who's been around the Nintendo community for quite a many years. I think with how they phrase the codename Ounce, it's not the actual word, it's OZ. And the way
is this before the leak, when it was rumored that it was Ounce?
No, this was a couple days ago.
Oh,
so this is very recent. The way he described it in his tweet was O comes right after N, and Z is 2 letters after X.
So it's just NX. So it means nothing.
It's basically the sequel to the Switch. I mean, it could genuinely just be called the Switch 2, which
that would be incredibly disappointing.
If you would have asked me a year ago, I would have been shocked, because I'm like, Nintendo's going to Nintendo. They're going to be like, oh, it's the Super Nintendo Switch. Oh, it's the new Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I don't think they want to shoot themselves in the foot that much that they call it the new Nintendo Switch.
I hope not.
The Switch 2 is just way too generic for them, especially when they release the Wii freaking U. And I also don't think they're going to pull a Wii U and, fail to communicate what exactly this thing is. So I think we'll find a middle ground there. I think that's what the Super Nintendo Switch is, but it could be anything. I'm personally team Super Nintendo Switch.
I would love that. I feel like that's a little bit too on the nose for them in regards to
the Super Nintendo.
Back to exactly. Yeah. It's like, I don't think they want to call back to it, as cool of a name as that is.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, in terms of naming, I'm sure there's going to be some new gimmick, whether it be in the Joy-Cons or with the actual system, that they're going to find a clever, quirky way of still calling it something very similar to the Switch. It just might be a little bit different.
So people don't actually agree with you. and a lot of people I've
Really?
seen online that it is just a Switch 2. Literally, iPhone for like just a new Switch. I don't. I think there is a gimmick because this is Nintendo we're
So
talking about. Um,
I I think what they, and this has been heavily speculated on after those like, I know they weren't, they're like the prototype images, however they got them, is basically the popular theory right now is the Joy Cons are going to be connected via magnets to the system.
that's not a gimmick though. That's
It's
just
not a
it's a
gimmick, but it is
quality of life
something. But it's
upgrade.
something that they might really focus on. I don't know, but I mean, there's also, well, and we'll get much more into details with this when we actually talk about those pictures. There's USB-C ports on both the top and the bottom,
Mm,
implying that it's possible that like there's peripherals that you can sell that go on top of your system when playing in
mm-hmm.
handheld mode. I'm not sure how much I think Nintendo's going to do that. That seems kind of gimmicky to me, a little bit too much even for
Too
them.
gimmicky.
But I mean, with Nintendo, there's never such a thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think
So with
this.
Nintendo, if we look back, there's usually one thing that they focus on, right? So
Yeah.
with the Switch had the Joy Cons and the portability factor, but I feel like that was just like the hybrid form factor. That was like their main goal, and then they added a gimmick on top of it, right? That's usually
Right.
how it works. So like the main goal with the Wii U was to make an HD console. The gimmick on top of that was the asynchronous multiplayer, right? Am
Yeah.
I okay? So in my
Yeah.
head, I think that the Switch 2, the goal is 4K, whether that's DLSS or what have you. Um, and the gimmick is actually something we already have, and is something that isn't talked about.
The
I
Nintendo HD Rumble,
No,
H
it's no, it's
4K
not. It's not
Rumble.
even utilized at all. It's in the OLED dock, and it has the capabilities of receiving updates, even though it doesn't. And so my personal
I see
theory
where you're going.
is that the Switch in handheld mode is 1080 60, just like that base form, um, and I don't think it'll go up from there in handheld mode. I think it'll just stay at 1080. I think that's a good base value, especially 60 FPS because I think it's 30 on the current Switch, or
Yeah.
even less than that. Now, where the gimmick comes in is that they're actually bringing back the Wii U. And
Oh.
the dock itself is a console, but it's not in the same way like the Wii U was, where like the Wii U was the console, the handheld is just a handheld, right? The console is still the Switch. It's still the handheld, right? Where it comes in is that there's an extra little bit of technology in the dock, and I think we already knew this from some of the leaks, that this is where the 4K boosting comes from. This is the way that you're able to keep a slim form factor in the handheld while still dialing up the graphics with 4K and maybe 120 FPS depending on the games. This is using AI upscaling and things like that to keep the slim form factor, but a lot of the beef is going to come from the dock. And the dock is
Yeah.
going to be able to receive updates and things like this. Now, where does the gimmick come into play? Because that's just basics, right? The gimmick comes into play is I think that the dock is going to be basically like a shell. And the dock is basically going to act like a PlayStation Portal, but not with Bluetooth and not with Wi-Fi, with Bluetooth, because the Wii U had Bluetooth and it was infinitely better. Although you can't walk across your house, the signal is still infinitely better. Um,
Yeah.
cause, and so that's how they bring in the Wii U thing back, because you can't play games only with the dock, right? You can't like pop a cartridge into the dock and just play it like it's another Switch. No, you can't do that. It is just a shell. It has menus of its own, but it can't run anything on its own. And so you use the menus and UI that's on the dock, connect the Switch portably, or connect the Switch wiredly, and that's how you get the boosted graphics and stuff. Or you can connect it wirelessly and bringing back that asynchronous multiplayer or the asynchronous gameplay. That's my big reveal.
I like it. My only question would be, would that drastically increase like the cost, do you
Uh,
think?
of the dock, yes. I still
Okay.
think that we're sitting at the $400 $500 price point. Um, and I I would Nintendo doesn't do this, but if they were any other company, they would probably sell dock replacements and also Switch like just by itself as well, almost like
Mhm.
a light. But the problem with doing that is it might confuse the consumers a little bit, and you're
Yeah.
like, well, all they need is this, and then people are already mad if a Switch Pro came, or that people are already mad about the light being not switchable. Um,
Yeah.
so if you accidentally buy your son or your kid a Switch without the dock. And they're like, well, you can't
Yeah.
switch with it. And it's like, well, you can, but you just didn't buy the dock for it. And then you end up buying more. So I would assume what would happen is that they would release it at a $400 $500 price point. Which again, this I think this is going to be cheaper than even I think technology wise, it should be cheaper than just the regular PlayStation 5 because they slimmed it all down and it's mostly AI, right? It's these cool new technologies that they're using to get those higher fidelities. Whereas the PS5, it's baked in, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so you doing that makes it a lot cheaper, keeping it at the $400 price point. But if they were smart, they would have docks that were sold separately that either that have all this stuff in it, like literally just taking what comes with it and selling it separately, as well as empty docks with nothing in it and just like
Yeah.
regular Switch One docks as well.
Well, I mean, early on in the generation with the Switch, I think they were selling docks for like 80 or $90.
This would
So
be more like
even
120, 140.
yeah, I mean, I personally don't think that Nintendo comes out with their at least a base SKU. They might do multiple. I doubt it though. I don't think they want to go any higher than 399 just because I feel like that's going to scare off families. And I feel like the first couple years there's going to be probably Legend ZA and then Pokemon Gen 10s. They really want to market to these kids.
Well,
Um,
so about that, if I don't know if you look too far into the leaks.
no, not really.
Currently, ZA is exclusive to Switch One. It will not be releasing on Switch Two, or
I don't think it has to release on the Switch 2 though to potentially
it
have
won't
like the
be.
benefits
I don't
of
think so.
upscaling.
I don't think it will.
Really?
I think Nintendo is just stupid enough to not do that, and I don't, and especially Game Freak, because currently, with the Gen 10 information, they are testing it on Switch One, which means they're literally building
Yeah,
it for Switch One to be released on Switch Two exclusively,
right.
which makes zero sense. So if that's what they're doing, I really don't think there's gonna be a 4K upgrade for any of the
Well,
games from
you
Nintendo.
know what? You
Not
got me
even
there,
like
but
Breath of the Wild or anything.
still though, I think in their marketing for Switch 2, they're absolutely going to be pushing for Metroid Prime 4 will be playable on Switch 2, Pokemon Legends ZA will be playable on Switch 2. I really
I think
think
they'll market that
backwards,
backwards compatibility,
yeah, but I
and
mean
it'll
that's not
run
this.
better like frame rate wise because it's just a
Right.
more powerful system. Because if you emulate Switch games, they're gonna run better. But
Yeah.
doing the whole 4K upscaling and stuff is not something I see Nintendo doing.
I
Unless
love
we
your
get a
idea with
remake intergrade of Breath of the Wild, which I doubt. Unless they
I
somehow
mean,
like release a combo pack of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild for $70, that would be crazy, but I doubt it.
they won't. No. My only like I love the idea about the basically kind of streaming from the dock or from the Switch
Not
to the dock.
streaming. Make sure it's not streaming. It's Bluetooth. It's
Okay,
Wii
you know what I
U
mean. I'm supposed to
technology.
right.
I have a
I
portal.
mean,
I have good internet. It sucks.
yeah. I think it's a great idea. I'm not sure if that's going to be Nintendo's goal. Like that's the thing. When I'm sitting here trying to think about what the Switch 2 or whatever it's called
Like a
will do,
gimmick. Yeah.
I can't figure it out. Cuz I'm like
Ow.
nothing we're at a point where nothing really sounds appealing in terms of a gimmick. Like bringing
It's
back
hard because
multi-screen.
can you even predict like what Nintendo's gimmicks are moving forward? Like you can't. You
No.
can never do that. And it's like yeah, they've been experimenting with 3D for so long, but you know, who's to say that they would come back and technically nail it and then it not really,
Yeah.
you know, have any lasting on anything, which is crazy because I actually went back and I like looked at the older consoles and what their gimmicks were, and it's like they kind of push the bar a lot. Like even though like PlayStation and Xbox didn't really have like gimmicks or whatever, or maybe they copied it with the PlayStation Move. That's not even like what's important. The motion controllers were basically started with the Wii, right? And then it was
Mhm.
copied with PlayStation Move. Where do we see motion controls now? Not just in Nintendo games. Gyro is motion controls. It
Yeah.
is it is a it is an evolution of motion control, which is now baked in to the PS5 controller. It is what people are outwardly seeing if games are compatible with it. And so they're still having that lasting impression years later, even though it's not in the same form. So it's like you can't really predict what they're going to do because, well, a lot of people like to say the Wii U walked so the Switch can run, but I feel like it's very different.
Yeah.
So
I
you
don't know.
never know.
I feel like the dock will be their quote unquote focus for the Switch 2. Like I do believe they'll try their best to get to 4K in terms of what they can do with it. I don't know if there'll be like any special gimmick um like kind of treating it like a gamepad. But I do think we're kind of gonna get, and I think this is gonna piss people off. We're gonna get a LED screen. It's gonna be 720p. I don't see them going to 1080, and that's gonna piss a lot of people off. But I do think the Switch as a handheld is going to perform so much better than what we saw with the Switch One. Because I mean, even launch year, do you remember like the hardware comparisons for like docked versus handheld for Xenoblade Two? It was running at like 520p or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. It was so low, and that was the first year the system came out.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really focused on that 720, but it always hits 60, and I think that's going to be the appeal. But I mean, especially for me, I've had the OLED for
I
about 2 years now. I'm gonna miss that screen. That's gonna
yeah,
hurt.
I'm going to miss it, but like something we also gotta hopefully pray that they do is not give us the shitty screen that they did give us. Because it's not just an LCD. It's a shitty screen. It has a
Yeah,
thick bezel. It has a thick glass layer.
I don't think we're getting the
It's
bezel
just
again.
ugly. It's not even it's like one of those cheap Android tablets that you buy for your kids that's indestructible and it's not
Yeah,
indestructible.
no,
Like that's what it looks like. It's not even a good screen. So even if it's LCD and they clean it up a bit, I think it'll be fine.
I don't know. I just remember like switching from the Switch to the OLED and just seeing how much the colors popped, how different it was. I know going back to an older screen, as long as it is properly made in comparison to the Switch One, because I think we can all agree the Switch One's system design was just so rushed because of the Wii U's failure.
Yeah.
And there's just, I get why they did it. They had to just in sake of time. Like if we would have been able to go through like another year and a half to 2 years with the Wii U, I'm sure the actual quality would have been a lot better.
I don't
But
know. Do you have any like what's your like full predictions, I guess now? Like what do you think is going to be the gimmick? Or
I
I mean other than just basic stuff that we already kind of know? Like do you have any like wild card things or
I mean, I think my wild card isn't even a wild card. I think they're gonna go with little attachments that you can put on the top of your Switch. I think that's why if that USB-C port is both on the top and the bottom, yes, it could just be for charging more conveniently when playing handheld, but I really do think they're gonna think of some Nintendo way of incorporating a camera, incorporating other kind of stuff for their games. I don't think they're gonna go super crazy with it, but I could see like one or two gimmicky kind of things coming out throughout the generation. But I really do think it's just going to be as simple as, hey, we're finally competing with the modern hardware. We can get these bigger games. Like the PS5 and Xbox are still like 4 or 5 years into their lifespan and they're still getting PS4 versions. We can get these now. We can get these modern games. I think I there's got to be something. I don't know what it's going to be. That's the
if
problem.
that's the I feel like that'll be because I feel like people were like people wanted like more Joy Cons, if that makes
Yeah,
sense, like more
I
things that you
remember
could
that.
like
Yeah,
put in
like
the
the
slot.
customizables.
I feel like that's
Yep.
the same thing Like,
And I don't like it. That's why I don't like that prediction, but I genuinely
I never
don't.
even heard of that. I was like, oh, cool. Now you can
I
plug in the Switch from the top because the bottom's weird.
no. I remember like the old pictures before the Switch even came out where like there was GameCube ones for Smash, there was Yokai Watch like ones with sliders for the Watch. Like I remember those so vividly.
That is that's a GameCube controller right there for the it's GameCube Joy-Con.
I was so confused while you were playing. I'm like, that's not a Yokai
No,
Watch.
that's a GameCube Joy-Con. That's Joy-Con.
But yeah, no, literally, it's exactly like that. I remember so many like pictures and concepts, and what I'm saying is exactly like that. So much so that I don't think it's gonna happen.
Hmm.
But I'm at a point with Nintendo where I'm like, I don't really want a gimmick. Just give me a stronger system.
Yeah. I would say I agree, but this is Nintendo, and like I really I
Exactly.
as soon as they said, "Oh yeah, we'll be announcing the Switch successor," I was disappointed. I was genuinely disappointed because Nintendo isn't like the other guys. Nintendo isn't like the other girls. Like Nintendo's different. Nintendo always makes something new and innovative. Whether we see it again, like I said with the Wii, we didn't see the lasting impression of what motion controls actually become until now. Like obviously we're not waggling anymore, but like it's the little things, right? I mean, look at the controller design nowadays. Like the SNES is one of the ones that pioneered the four button design. I mean, Nintendo patented the D pad, so
Yeah.
we don't know the lasting impressions of what the gimmick will be until later on. So I was like, Nintendo always is pushing the envelope with these things. So if we just get an iPhone 4, the next iPhone with the Switch 2, it's like, why didn't you just release a Switch Pro? Like, why didn't
I'm
you, like,
I mean, that's kind of how people can look at this. Like I'm thinking whatever we do see, because there will be some sort of gimmick. Like even the Switch, like even if you ignore it being a hybrid, you have HD Rumble. I think we're gonna get something more akin to that, like something we
well, the
already
PS,
have,
the
just
DualSense has
enhanced.
HD Rumble as well.
Yeah, but I mean that I'm not gonna say Nintendo pioneered that because they really didn't. It's just special Rumble.
Yeah.
But I think there's gonna be something special that we'll be excited for when it gets announced. But I don't think it's gonna be super game changing.
Mm,
But I feel like I'm just being overly pessimistic or like not envisioning something major coming from this because I really do think with what we're hearing about how beefy this system sounds, I think they're gonna not forego a gimmick, but I think they're definitely gonna focus on trying to pull in the hey, these hardcore titles really worked well for us with the Switch. Let's keep that momentum going.
right. It's weird too, because like we got Tears of the Kingdom, and we never got another 3D Mario game. If you count
Yeah, I
Bowser's
don't
Fury, that's like a half a game.
I feel like for me that's the biggest missed opportunity of the Switch. And like I get it. They probably worked on Bowser's Fury. They probably got so many ideas. They're like, okay, let's not do Odyssey 2. Let's build this big new thing. And that's definitely what we're going to see very early on, if not on launch day for this system. But the fact that it's been almost 8 years since Odyssey came out, or 7 years, 7 years since Odyssey came out, and
Hmm.
we've had a 3 hour adventure inside of a port.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't get
I
it.
just feel like they really gotta keep up that momentum, and they're not doing a very good job at doing that. Like
No.
after Mario and Luigi comes out, there will be a lull because the next thing that comes out is Donkey Kong, and that doesn't matter. No one gives a fuck.
And that's for me is one of the big reasons why I do think we see this system or at least heavy announcements early on. Because I mean, here we are mid October, no direct in sight. I don't think we're gonna get like a Twitter reveal of a new small game for
No,
February
we
or
we don't
March.
we don't need a direct at this point.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like
But we need to
unless
know
they
when
announce the Switch 2 between now and when Donkey Kong comes out, that's all we need because that we will ride that hype wave until the Switch 1 comes out. We'll probably get a presentation for insiders earlier in the year. We'll get a regular direct in March that covers Switch 1 and Switch. They're the last wave of Switch 1 games and then Switch 2 games, and that'll be that, you know. And
I
so,
don't know. I feel like regardless, they need something by March or April.
oh,
Hopefully, it's the new
100%.
system. Hopefully it's a new system, but I mean,
If we get another regular direct before the Switch 2 comes out, I think people will riot.
I honestly think we're gonna get like if we don't see the Switch 2 before the Game Awards, I think Nintendo's gonna show up and do like a port or two announcement. Like obviously nothing major. It's not gonna make people excited, but oh,
Actually,
here's
we
Yoshi's
scrapped
Woolly
the
World or
Switch
something.
2. Here's Twilight Princess HD.
An eye for an eye. I like it. But
No,
no,
but how did we
something
fucking do
something
that?
something small like oh here's Yoshi's Woolly World or something like that. Like here's this really small game that nobody's really gonna care about, but it comes out in March. Have fun.
So going back to hardware, do we think the magnets is a thing? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think so.
And
I
then what about amiibo support?
I mean, I feel like it'll have an NFC reader in the right Joy-Con, just like the Switch One does. But I think Amiibo, as we can very clearly see, are being phased out. I really don't expect to see much compatibility in future games. I
Do
think
you
it's just going to be there just for backwards compatibility's sake.
right? I mean, Tears of the Kingdom, Echoes of Wisdom had amiibo support, which is surprising.
Hardly.
So
I mean, it's there's the problem is there's really nothing special with Amiibo, and there really hasn't been. I'd say probably since the Wii U days.
yeah. Well,
Like
Nintendo's
there's
just
no
not as fun as they used to be. They're just on the back end. Like Nintendo Directs are sterile. They're still hype, but they're sterile. The Switch UI is sterile. The only thing fun now is just the games themselves. Any sort of
that's the gimmick. Themes.
a
There you go.
gimmick,
That's the
a
gimmick. You get
gimmick.
themes now. You get the web browser back. You
No,
get music on the eShop.
no, because you got Alarmo.
That's it. Your Nintendo Switch 2 comes with a free Alarmo watch.
Oh no, that is the Switch 2. We've been lied to this whole time. It's just the Alarmo.
There's going to be a software update in January, and it's going to be able to play Breath of the Wild 3.
I think the quality on the screen is like worse than the DS or something like that.
Hey, but it has Pikmin 4 music, so it makes it very much worthwhile.
It doesn't yet, right? I think it comes in
Yeah,
an
it does.
update.
No, that's
Oh,
Mario Kart and Animal Crossing.
okay.
So it got
Um,
Pikmin before Mario Kart.
what else can we talk about? Touchscreen. Not that it's
I
going
feel
to
like
exist. I hate the touchscreen on the Switch. It
it'll
needs
have a
it
touchscreen.
needs to have the Wii U touchscreen.
It won't.
It's so much better.
Like the touchscreen is such a negligible thing that it's going to be the exact same as the Switch One. Like there's
It's crazy
not
now
going to be
that
a
just
stylus.
it's not a
Like
question whether or not something will have a touchscreen because like nowadays I feel like if you buy a very very modern monitor that came out yesterday and it doesn't even market it that it's a 8-inch touchscreen, it just has a touchscreen for some reason, no reason, it just for no
yeah,
reason it has a touchscreen. PlayStation Portal, it's a streaming device, it has a touchscreen. For
yeah.
what reason, I don't know.
I think the big question we need to ask ourselves is how are the cartridges going to be designed differently so they can't fit in the Switch One? Are we getting the 3DS notch
Yeah,
back?
yeah, we're getting the
Heck
3DS
yeah.
notch.
Heck
Uh,
yeah.
it'll actually look like a Steam Deck. It'll have a chunk at the back of it. Uh, I don't know how else to describe it.
I
It's like,
think the secret is we're bringing back the N64 size cartridges, and it's just gonna have a big back.
what? Why?
Why not? That's the gimmick.
No, it's just the N64. Oh, that's the gimmick. So you know how on the N64 you added like put things in the back of the controller? You can do that with the
Mm-hmm.
Switch 2 Joy-Con. That's what
Yep.
that thing is on the side of the Joy-Con. That little slot between the SNL button, SLSR button. You saw that, right? There's like a little cut in the
Yes,
middle.
I
That's
did.
that's for Rumble Pack H
That's where you put all.
4K Rumble Pack.
That's where you put your theme cartridges to install onto your Switch.
Oh,
Because you have to buy them at retail. You can't buy them on the eShop.
I mean, the reason why they're doing magnets in the first place is so they prevent people from hacking, which doesn't make any sense, but sure.
No, no. I mean, that's another fatal mistake with the Switch One. It was so shoddily made that within like a year and a half, people found out how to use a paperclip to mod their Switches.
I don't know. Like what? Like I feel
Don't
like
ask me.
on the PS5, if you want to mod it, all you have to do is plug it in and like download something. Like with
Yeah.
the Switch One, you have to push a button to make sure it goes in a certain boot mode. It's like really?
I mean, Nintendo was so safeguarding their piracy, especially after Game Freak. I mean, especially after like every single one of their
That
games
was
leaks out
someone
like
that went
2
into
weeks
work
early.
one day and said, "You know what? I'm gonna be a menace." That he literally walked into work and said, "I'm putting my whole job on the line for this."
Good for them. I mean, honestly, not my way of going out of a job, but
With how much stuff, all this lawsuits and stuff, they're not suing the guy. They're gonna find him, and he's gonna be 6 feet under. He will be
oh yeah.
dead. Like no cap. YouTube, if you're trying to take this video down, go ask Game Freak. They're probably already signing the paperwork for an assassin. Like
Well, as of recording, by the time this is released, he'll probably be gone.
he'll probably already be dead. Okay, is there anything else that I missed in terms of this?
We've talked about the Joy-Con a little
I
bit.
feel
We've
like
talked about.
we're also too. I don't mean to interrupt you. Like
Oh, you're good.
we saw the leak and it's like, well, yeah, that's probably it. And then we're like
I
nothing
mean,
else to talk about.
the system is bigger than the Switch, so obviously, I think. Ooh, something that I think we all kind of forgot about is they're releasing that Joy-Con charging dock like
Oh
this
yeah, there's
week.
just a bigger Joy-Con.
I
Like
feel like that's just to make sure that your
yeah,
Switch One Joy-Con can be played on the Switch Two, and I feel like, you know what, makes sense. But yeah,
yeah. If they're
we'll need
especially
new.
if they're bigger, if they're magnets, like you can't. What are you gonna do? Like, I mean,
I
they
know the
could
big.
put on like a magnet adapter where it like
I
magnetizes
know
to the side and then.
the gimmick is there's no Joy-Con drift. There you go.
Oh my god.
Why didn't I
I
think of
think
that
you've
sooner?
given up after we quit Fairy Fountain. You're just like
I just feel
themes, I
like
guess. That's the gimmick.
I'm on a big vacation. The gimmick is themes. You can have Twilight Princess music play on your Switch, even though you can't play Twilight Princess.
Oh yeah, like Twilight Princess Picross on the
Hey, I
3DS.
have Twilight Princess Picross. I have the Twilight Princess HD theme on my new Nintendo 3DS, and I couldn't be happier.
You know what we get before we get Twilight Princess HD? We get
Super
Twilight.
Mario Maker 1
No,
on the
we
on
get
Switch 2.
Link's Crossbow Training HD.
That's the gimmick. They're bringing the gun back.
Is there anything else that we're missing in terms of this?
I mean, beefier system, better Joy Cons, magnets. Maybe they do some gimmicky stuff just to pair Bluetooth with the
Like,
system to make it like dual screen.
why do I feel like they just killed the vibe when they're just like, "Yep, it's definitely a Switch successor." It's like, man, what if someone drafted up a Nintendo Dream console that like they never done before, and it's like we
Arlo
can't really do
already
that
did that.
anymore because it's just another Switch. So
Yeah, but I mean that saved me potentially 6 months of waiting in bated breath to see if Nintendo's gonna fuck it up. I
well, I
mean,
mean, they
I
can still
that's
very much so do that. It's the
yeah,
Switch,
but
the
I mean
Swoo, the Swoo, the
that's the
Nintendo
gimmick. It has
Swoo.
a stupid name. Oh
No,
wait,
and
no,
then
they
they're
already
gonna
did that
market
one.
it. They're gonna literally lie to you, and instead of like messing up the marketing with the Wii U, they'll literally, actually, you buy this and it connects to your Switch One, but it doesn't connect to your Switch One at all.
See, I have it. The Switch 2 is just going to launch with Breath of the Wild 4K, and that's going to be the launch title for six
And the
months.
only game for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Mario Kart X 2027, Metroid Prime 4. JK is delayed till 2028. We're
Actually,
rebooting it
it's
again.
only going on the Wii U.
Your holiday title, Wind Waker. Not
We don't
HD,
have a
not
holiday
4K,
title, do we?
just Wind Waker. For this year,
I don't think there's anything left after Brothership.
Brothership is the holiday title.
Oh,
on.
I keep thinking it comes out this month. I'm confusing it with Sonic
No,
X Shadow.
it comes out in November.
God damn it.
But
I
I mean, I that's why I'm not super passionate about talking Switch 2 right now because there's still so much to play on Switch 1.
yeah.
Like, usually there'd be a lot more like rabid hunger for information because
Pokemon, yes.
Nintendo usually gives up on their previous system like 6 months before the new one comes
yeah.
out. Like the Wii in 2012, disastrous. The Wii U in
What are you
2016,
talking about? Galaxy
pretty
2.
much, and that was 2010.
Oh, I thought it was 2012.
No,
No, that was
I
the
think
year that New Soup U came out. Never mind.
no, I think 2012 was like Project Rain Cloud or like
Oh,
Xenoblade on the Wii and
Xenoblade?
stuff
Yeah.
like the last one. But like they give up usually in the lead up. Like right now,
Yeah, we were
I could
predicting that there would be no direct. We thought, oh, just the Switch
exactly
1 reveal, and that was it. Or Switch 2
like
reveal.
right now on this very day, like this month, I got to play a brand new Zelda game. Mario Party just got the highest Metacritic score, basically I think ever, if not that since like the original. And we have a new Mario and Luigi game coming out, and I got to play Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door in HD. Like I'm fine. Like Nintendo can wait, but it's also like okay, after that, after that like 2 weeks, it's time. I need more information. But it also feels like this is the first time really ever that I know what to expect with them, and I
Hmm.
hope they subvert my expectations. I really do. But even if they don't, a Switch that can just play modern games that look very very nice, I'm excited for it. That's really kind of what I want.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still holding out for some sort of goofy gimmick, knowing them. But at the end of the day, there's not really a whole lot to talk about. We've been talking about the Switch 2 for 4 years now. Uh,
Has it really been that long?
we started this channel in 2020, so
Good lord, you're right.
so
Wow.
yeah. I thought this be a little bit more interesting of a conversation, but
Look, I've had a great time getting to talk about my gimmicks.
all
Just because
right.
you didn't have a great time, you can buy the WarioWare themes for $8.99 on the Nintendo Switch 2 eShop when it comes out.
No, but when we'll be ready when it finally gets announced. And
Oh,
I
oh,
think what will be a lot more fun is talking specific games for sure.
technically, I want to just bring this up just to pad the length for a few more minutes. In that reveal trailer, are we seeing any new games, or are they focusing on
Same thing as Switch
Metroid Prime?
One. I don't think that we see. I think at the very end or closer to the end, we start seeing. Oh wait, Switch One games are also playable. But I think they want to focus in on what's new, right?
Yeah,
I think they're gonna dial that in. I don't think that we see straight up new games. I think we see what's the word? Just new game Super Mario for the Nintendo Switch 2 type of thing, where it's like Mario appears on screen and he's looking really HD, really 4K. He has more
really
hairs on
4K.
his mustache. But again, like the Switch One, they didn't really focus on software. They're like, when we analyzed it, we're like, oh shit, that's Mario Kart 8. Like, you know, so I think because again, when they showed it, they had King Boo and other things that were not in Mario Kart 8 base game.
Exactly.
So I think the focus will be okay. First of all, get the what the fuck is this out the door. That's frame one. What is new, right? The games that they show are primarily games that are just generic game. However, they did start with Breath of the Wild because that was a game that we did know about at the time.
Yeah.
So maybe they start with Prime 4, but I feel like that's very hard sell. Zelda is one of their big boys. Metroid not so much. I don't know if that's okay to show Frame 1 because it is kind of a darker series.
I mean, I think for me, so I mean, we don't know if this is going to be exactly like the Switch rollout. Like, we really could get a Switch successor direct, and that's when we first see it, and we see games immediately.
What
I
was that
kind of have
presentation where they sat down and he's like, "Who's the guy that runs the directs with the
uh
glasses?"
Koizumi or Takahashi. Takahashi.
I think it was Takahashi, and he like picked up. Oh no, it was Koizumi. Uh, and he's like, "Look, and he shook it, and it was like ice cubes and stuff.
That
What was
was
that?
okay. So that was like the main presentation where we got Mario Odyssey announced, Splatoon
That
2,
was
Mario
E3
Kart.
or
No. That
the
was that was
that
the
was the
Switch presentation in
2017.
That was January.
That was like a pre-recorded thing though.
No. Well,
They were in the
those bits
dark
were.
room and the it was like a dark room and
They
they're
had an
like
actual
it was
no
a
the
video.
conference. The conference itself was live, but there was pre-recorded aspects.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
But that
whatever
was
that
about
video
that was about
was,
that was 3 months after the original trailer, though, roughly.
I think we're gonna get a trailer like the Switch 2 still, and then we'll get. I don't know if we'll get a direct, but I think we'll get. I think they'll probably want to publicize the presentation a little bit more because it wasn't really
Agreed.
public. It wasn't really public before. I think they will have a turn up the publicity a little bit, but that's it.
Mhm.
And then that would be the same pretty much as the Switch one. Again, a lot of people are still saying we're gonna get a replication of the Switch one's release, but we're halfway through October now, so
I mean, they announced the Switch one on October 20th. I'm not saying it's going to happen, obviously, but
one. What's the 20th? What even is the 20th?
it's probably like I think it's like Saturday or something like that. It makes no sense. Saturday or
No, it's a
Sunday.
Sunday. No, they're off that day.
But I'm just
It's like
saying,
that one
it could,
Pokemon Presents that was on a Saturday for some reason.
I don't know, I could see it being like they show off. Not, I think they'll show off Mario Kart first. I think it'll be
A new
just
one?
oh yeah, but it'll be very like over the shoulder. You see a little bit of the graphics. You see like Mario racing a new track, but I mean, you're
So
not
like
gonna
Mario
see like
Odyssey when it was first.
yeah, you're not
Yeah,
gonna see anything. But and then same thing with 3D Mario. I think you see Mario running across something inconspicuous enough.
if
Like
that leak is
they're not.
real, where it's Mario 3D World 2, people will instantly recognize that camera. It'll be like, oh no, people will be so mad. My
No, like
cheekbones are really pushing out right now.
no, you show the Mario Kart to get the kids. You show Mario to get a little bit of everyone, and then somewhere in the trailer you show a little bit more of Prime Four, and that's kind of it, along with some
It
third
just
party stuff.
the lights shut off and Ridley appears in the background, stabs the person that's playing the game.
I don't know. I have this weird feeling that they're gonna push Elden Ring year one for the Switch 2. I don't know
Oh,
why.
did they even
I kind
show
of
any third-party games during that initial trailer?
Skyrim, NBA.
Oh shit. Well,
Mm-hmm.
remember too during those closed door things, they did show Final Fantasy VII remake and one other game too. What
Yeah,
was the other
I can
one?
see Final Fantasy. I don't remember. Beats me.
I just don't know if that's like enough for Nintendo fans.
We'll see. I mean, it's a reveal trailer. I think they're going to be focused. They're obviously focusing on the system,
What if
but yeah,
Bethesda announces or finally shows off Elder Scrolls 6 with the Switch too? They become full circle.
I think
I
we're
mean, they
getting
already
GTA
revealed
5.
it. They revealed it, but they
We're
haven't
getting the
shown anything.
we're getting the 18th version of GTA 5 on the Switch 2.
How many GTA's are even? Okay, don't forget. Hey, people that know GTA started on Nintendo. Just so you know, it started on the Game
Yeah,
Boy. So,
but if you try to get GTA 6 on the Switch 2, it's gonna explode.
oh
Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, that game's not coming to pass gen.
their game's not gonna run on the Switch and the PS5 Pro. It's not running on that, and it's not even coming to PC, where it will run smoothly.
Yeah, well, it will like 2 years after the fact, but you have to wait for that.
All right. So I just want to talk specifics. Like it's so weird. I'm so hungry for Pokemon right now. It is so weird. Like I like. Don't get me wrong. I'm still happy that we're not. It was supposed to come out this year, by the way. And in the
I know,
files,
I
it
saw
said it was
that.
supposed to come out this year. So don't get me wrong. I'm glad that they gave themselves more time to develop the game. But it's weird not having one right now, which means
Isn't it nice?
we haven't had a full game since Scarlet and Violet. But the thing that sucked about that is that Arceus came out the same goddamn year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we got a little bit. We had that final DLC pack at the very beginning of the year, um, the uh, the mythical
Yeah.
storyline. So we got something, but like it is so weird not having anything. But we also don't like. I feel like they could have announced something at the World Championships.
They honestly
They should like show just anything, just like not a release date, like just like a new Mega or something. I don't know, but like just something little. But because we don't have anything, nothing. We have a
no,
logo.
it baffles me a little bit that they chose to announce Legends ZA in February.
Because it
You
was
would have
supposed to
thought.
come out. If you think about their original cycle, it was
I
going to
mean,
come out this year.
but they never. They even in that reveal trailer they said 2025.
I know,
So
but I feel
they
like they're
decided
still
very
stick to
early
that
on.
schedule. And maybe
I
that
know.
in February, maybe it's not coming out till next November, because then they'll come and re-announce it in February, have a
Yeah.
full reveal trailer like we normally do. Hopefully, it looks a lot better than any of the other reveal trailers that we've gotten in the last 8 years. Switch, no. Let's Go looks perfectly fine. Brilliant Diamond looks perfectly fine. They look great. It's just Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, and Arceus. Those are the only ones that look weird.
Yeah. But I'm just excited. New generation means 7 or 8 more years. I get to sit in front of this camera asking for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess.
8 more years. That's crazy.
8 more years. Let's
Well, whatever
go.
they're testing with NSO, maybe that's connect to your Wii U and play your Wii U game.
I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm kind of just bracing myself that this is actually going to be GameCube NSO, and that's how we're getting Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. And honestly, I'd be okay with that.
I
Just
wouldn't.
let me play
Twilight
them.
Princess did not look good.
To be fair, it doesn't look great in the HD one either. It looks a hell of a lot better than it did in the Wii and GameCube. Don't get me wrong, but
But if it's Wii and GameCube, which version are we getting? Because they're different.
GameCube,
They're different.
GameCube. Yeah, we get GameCube, or they won't release it on GameCube NSO at all. Make me wait freaking years until we get Wii NSO.
Well, we got Link's Awakening on NSO, so you never
Yeah,
know.
no. I mean, I think
Why
it'll
did we
come out
have
before
to?
the next.
We had to pad
It'll
this
come
for
out in the
15 more minutes.
No, we're not. We're done here. I can't do this anymore. I can't talk about Wind Waker, Twilight Princess.
Okay.
It makes my blood pressure go up.
We're down to the wire now. Should be coming. It should be announced here soon, right? Right?
Maybe.
Right?
I hope so.
I really don't have to want to re-record this video. like, it's just it's so tough to plan this because it's like we got to get some sort of prediction video out. Maybe we should have gone a little bit more depth in what they would show in the trailer, but I don't know anymore. It just needs to happen at this point. Then we can move forward with our lives.
Yeah.
Because even if we don't have it in our hands, I think the seeing it will be enough. Just knowing that it exists.
I will just remind you that it could be a hell of a lot worse. We could have gotten Peach Showtime and Mario Party, and that could have been it for 2024, and we could have still been waiting for the new system.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying we have it pretty good.
True. Mario and Luigi's back, so hey,
God,
you remember when we talked about? I was like, I'm gonna hold out hope. Mario and Luigi finally coming back, and you're like, no.
I didn't think it was gonna happen. Let alone
I cried, bro.
every other. I think I was just in shock. So I was like, they actually did. These Mad Lads.
Oh man, I literally said it too. I was like, you know what? I did it last year. Let's just throw Mario and Luigi in there again.
No, I was so confident that I'm like, okay, Mario and Luigi will come back at some point, and it's not going to be for probably another 4 or 5 years. Like they're going to give it some time on ice.
We recently saw Starlow's back. The one thing that we don't know is if what's her name, Yoko Shimomura, is making the music. We don't know. Everything else looks great. Starlow's in it. Yeah. The only thing we don't know is music.
We'll find out here pretty soon. It comes out in what, like 3 weeks?
I don't know. Maybe I'll. Well, election happens before then, so maybe then the world happens before that.
That happens on my birthday.
Oh God.
I will be drinking.
Okay, well that'll be it for today's episode. We'll see you guys after the Switch 2 gets announced because we'll be 100% talking about that And probably the first prediction video is going to be Mario, so looking out for that as well. Probably have the other guys on that. I think that's perfectly fair to say. But we will see you guys when the Switch 2 actually comes out. You'll see this video when that video gets announced, or you might just see it pop up in your sub feed if we've lost all hope and the Switch 2 never got announced. So we'll see you when we see you.
Bye, guys.